Hello everybody, Vicky here. I hope everybody's well. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, we're up one basket at a time and we're getting towards the end of our first basket together, so that's getting quite exciting. So believe it or not, it's more tags. You're all going to be thinking the only thing I know how to do is make a tag. And it's getting to the stage where you'd be just about right. But in our basket, there were 10 tags cut out, and I'm thinking that they've come from Minte, a manufacturer called Minte, and it come from A6 maybe. Oh, and it's just a tag book. So Corolla, she makes a few of these A6 or whatever size they are. There's a fussy cutting one, and there's a couple of background ones, and obviously there's the tag. And I think what's happened is I thought, right, very unlike me, I've gone, these tags aren't doing me any good in this book. I'll just get cracking and I'll cut them out and have them ready to go. Well, they, yeah, something bigger or shinier or different come along, and guess what? They just stayed in this basket for however long they've been there. So it's time to get them used. So what I'm doing here is and you'll see me doing this with all the little people, and it's just giving them a little bit of ground to stand on. So it's just a Stabilo. It reacts really well with water. On this one, I think I used just a little bit too much of the Stabilo because it was a little bit dark, but that's okay. It's just not meant to be perfect. It's just so her little feet are standing on something so she doesn't look like she's hovering. Now, with these 12, I followed the same formula, if you like, for all of them, but tried to make them a little bit different in other ways. So at the top, I'd already, before I started doing the filming, because you all know or have seen me do set the eyelets. And then I've used a calico, which is a very high count, I think. It's either that or it's a broadcloth, it's a little bit thicker. And I've used that at the top. And instead of threading it through and making a loop or tying it in a knot, I've put it through the eyelet single thickness and pulled it up, and then I've just gone to the sewing machine, and then I've sewn across the base of the tag where it comes out. Now I had an issue with doing that. I'd put it through and I'd pull it out and I'd cut it and I'd do it again and I'd just do it again and do it again and do it again, because I just didn't think that I was doing it good enough. And I just about done it, just did my head in. And in the finish, I've just sat there and I've thought, why isn't this fun? And it's, the answer's pretty simple. I'm just trying to be perfect where it doesn't have to be perfect, and to cut myself a little slack and enjoy doing what I'm doing rather than getting caught up in the nonsense of perfection. And I know perfection is no joke. Both Graham and I suffer from that problem, and it does cripple us sometimes. And perfection is one of the things that stops a lot of people from being able to finish something, because you start doing it and you get halfway through and it's not perfect, and you just lose the will to want to finish it because it's not going exactly like you wanted it to do. So I guess my little moral is, if you can do it and if it works, if like the tag's not, the fabric isn't going to fall out of the eyelet, it's fine, it looks good. And with it being, if it is a little bit wonky, it just adds character, it really does. So that's my story on doing it that way. I'm now happily sewing across because I love the look of the calico, the fabric tops, and I haven't done a lot of them because I don't like the knots in them, because I'm hoping any journal I make will be a journal that will get journaled in and will be written in and will be used. So there would probably be nothing more annoying if you're trying to write and you've got a big lump somewhere that keeps interfering with what you're doing. Now, I'll apologise if the sound went a little bit funny then. My iPad just slipped, so it might have distorted for a moment. It's actually quite late at night and I'm sitting up on my bed doing this, because when I'm in bed, the two Mutleys are really quiet for me, except for when they're not. Cody just went out before barking. So all 12 of the tags have the same top, nylet and some calico through it. And then all the tags have got little dangles. Now there's 4 pieces to each dangle, and it is onto a bulb pin. So we've got a Tim Holtz numeral, an alphabetical little acetate, I guess, that white there, that one's a H by the look of it. And they're just little oblongs, rectangles, sorry. Oh dear. I guess oblong would work. And then they're pinned onto there with the bulb pin, just to give it a little bit more interest. And then down the right hand side there where my thumb is, I've done a double row of zigzag. It doesn't go all the way to the top or the bottom, and then the second row on the inside is a little bit shorter. And I think that's the only sewing I did on these. And then down the bottom, I've got some sort of little cluster, and I've used labels on them. Now, this is my chain stitching. Now, I don't know whether or not I've talked. This is the 4th time I've done this, and I don't know if I've told you about chain stitching. Basically, I'll tell you anyway. The chain stitching is just when you put everything through the machine without pulling it out and snipping it and then starting another piece. And over the length of a project, you'd be really surprised just how much thread that you can save and how much quicker it is. Well, and I got that from quilting, that if you just keep continually feeding through and then snip after you've finished, it's amazing how quickly the process goes. You might not notice it quite so much with papercraft, but when you're machine stitching a quilt, you certainly will appreciate it. And that's the chain stitch with all those tags stuck together. So I'm still just plodding along, and I'm sorry. I think in some of these, in some parts of this, I think I've gone off camera again. It's not that my camera's in the wrong spot. It's just sometimes I don't think to push my chair in all the way so that I'm sitting closer to the bench, which in turn would make my hands in the right place for the camera to be. I just forget about it, girls. I'm sorry. So I'm just fiddling now here. I've got the next the next cluster that we're doing, and the words I'm using are the Tim Holtz words. I'm not sure if I just can't quite see, but what I've done, it looks like I've mounted. There it is. Oh no, that's a stamp, I think. I'm sorry. Oh dear. Is that a stamp or is it a sticker? I've got these little stickers with sort of different series of numbers and letters and different things on them. So I'm just not 100% sure. Although I think, you see, my little recording box is right smack in the middle of where my work is. So I'm not crazy It's just the positioning of everything. We don't have to worry, there's nothing on there. Now, a couple of the tags lacked a little bit of interest. They were a little bit sort of flat. So I've grabbed a background stamp, and I've stamped off a little bit of the ink because I want it to be in the background. I don't want it to be, like a part of what the focal. That's what I'm looking for. So I've put, I think, 3 different flowers on here together, and I quite like it. It's quite funny. I used to think that, oh no, you can't use more than one flower on that. I mean, you use that there and you've used them all up. Before you know it, you've got nothing. But I am actually able to laugh at that and do something about it now as well. It's like, you're crazy, Vic. And this is my new theme, and I've been working towards it all year. You've got to use it. Um, it's like my body is not very happy, but I keep using the adage of use it or lose it. If I'm not active, and if I don't walk around enough, if I don't try, I get stiffer, and it becomes very painful for me to move. So the answer to that is to just be gently moving as much as possible. And it's kind of like, so I use it or lose it. I've got to move my body around. So with our things that we've got, it's sort of like use it or lose it, because everything goes off. These stickers, I don't know that they would last that well for years. I don't know, I could be wrong, I don't know anything about them. But I know rub-ons, when they get older, are difficult. And all our wet media as well, it'll all dry up. So, we've got to use it, girls. It's my new mantra. So all I've done there is just taken a label, put lace on the front of it instead of behind it, and then put a flower on it. And I kind of like this card. I reckon this is really quite cute. So this is one of the miniature figures that you can buy now that are all the rage, I think, or it might only just be me. But these are little ones, and I've just put, I think, a ruffle down, and put that little sticker onto one of the bigger labels, and I think I'm putting a little number 4 just in under there, and I don't think I put anything else on there. So I'm just tucking that number 4 up in there, and just trying to be a little bit different. Like I said, all these will sit very well together in any project that you want to make, or mainly vintage. When I say they will sit together in any, what I mean is these tags can be in a journal of your choosing, and they will all sit well next to each other. And even though, like I said, they've got the same formula, they've got pretty much the same elements, but they still are a little individual. So I think that's why I was quite pleased with that one. So what are we up to? You can see I've been doing this over a period of time. So I've got my black cardigan on now, so it must be a little bit cold. And these doors are really beautiful. So I'm just continually doing the same thing. Now I'm putting all of them out for you to see. So there'll be 6 at the top and 6 at the bottom. Now I will move those 6 at the top and push the ones at the bottom up, because of the way the light shines down on them. It's a bit glary for the second row. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching the video. I will run out of tags to do very soon and do something a little bit more stimulating. But this is just a fun little project to do when you're in between or you're starting another journal and you need ephemera. They're certainly excellent to be in our stash, because they can go with just about anything. So, on that note, I would like to say goodbye. Be kind to you and be kind to the person standing next to you. Until next time, bye bye.